What's good, squad? So, apologize for the small delay, although really it was pretty much nothing. I had to make coffee, and that's really important. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Yep, looks like the audio is working. Alright, so I logged in today to do some daily tactics, and I noticed that Lichess says I underperform relative to my other categories. Maybe I can even show you guys. In sacrifices, which is ridiculous. Libel. Blasphemy. Not true. Can you guys see it? Yeah, it says the sacrifice is really not that good, which makes no sense because in real life I can hardly go like 5 moves without sacrificing a piece. So let's see if I can even the score with the infamously difficult and annoying Lichess puzzles. But I also have another goal, to complete a certain number of these within an allotted time frame. Not like a specific time frame, it's like 30-45 minutes, but I want to complete like 4 rows. At the bottom of the tactics thing, it'll show a certain number of positions solved. I just want to do a lot of them today. So I might be pushing myself to go quickly and make some mistakes as a result, but I think it's okay. So category sacrifices. So naturally rook g7 comes to mind, like rook g7, king g7, queen h6, king g8, and then something clever. Maybe even rook takes, king takes, bishop takes. Either way, this move's pretty promising. If queen takes king g8, I just have to check the king to win the game. So moves like knight g4 come to mind, because I want to play knight f6, which would win the game. But the difficulty that I see with this is that they could play, for example, f5, or they could play bishop e7. No, actually, because the queen's hanging, the bishop would take the queen if bishop e7. So it might be more like, yeah, they probably have to play something like f5. I don't know, maybe knight g4 is worth considering, because after f5, white can play, for example, bishop takes d6, and after queen takes d6, maybe we have something here with I don't know. I'm kind of not too impressed by this one, because after, for example, knight f6, they could always sack the exchange back. We sacrificed a rook to get here, so I doubt we would have much better than a perpetual in that case. So bishop h6 seems more reasonable, and I'm trying to go fast here, so that's my alternative, so I'm just playing it. And now I still want to do things like get a knight on f6. But I also have additional options like queen g5, which would probably be met with, excuse me, bishop g6. I think it's the only move. The reason being that if they play king h7 or king h8, then we have queen g7 checkmate. So that's enticing. I don't think there could be any downside to throwing queen g5 in before I, for example, take on f8 or something, so I think that has to be the next move. Now I'm wondering, should I take with the knight, or should I play h5, or should I do something else? h5 just wins this piece. I would end up in a situation where my attack is stalling, I imagine. Like h5, bishop takes, pawn takes. They might play in like knight d7, so that when you take on g6, they could play queen a5 check. I'm starting to just calculate nice ideas for black here. I don't think it's really that promising. So maybe the immediate thing, knight g6, is critical. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes obviously, and they can only play king h8. But you know, I also could just threaten checkmate. Maybe I don't even need to go through this bishop. Maybe I could just go here. So they can take it to protect. I take back. They still have the same problem. Queen a5, king f1. I think queen f6 is right. Okay, so that was the answer. How do you like me now, Light Chess? Alright, Anand, welcome to the chat. Queen f6 is definitely better. Good. In a circle, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go to the next one. Gotta try to do them a little bit faster today. Alright, so rook f2 looks kind of straightforward. Rook takes, king takes, rook f8, king g1 is the only move. Queen e2 is threatening rook f1. The thing is, maybe after queen e2 they have multiple defenses. Like, maybe they could play h3, and then when you throw this check, they play king h2. So I think the issue is, how do you follow up on rook f2? We're definitely going to play something like this. How do we make it work? Sack first, think later. Not exactly. I mean, maybe in like blitz or bullet, but all right. I think the idea here is I'm going to sack, play rook f8, king g1, queen e2, and they have to defend against rook f1 somehow, but it doesn't really matter how they do, because queen takes e3 wins the rook on c1. That should be a winning endgame. Oof. Went a little fast there. So what's the problem? Could it be this? Throw this check in. Oh, come on, like who cares if we provoke g3? We're just winning the situation. I guess it's precise. I want to be able to play like rook f2 or something. But I consider this kind of ridiculous. Alright, going on. It's fine. Rook h6 is an obvious move here. I think I'll eat it now. Okay. Obviously the idea is that if they take, I'm playing queen h7 and just checkmate here stuff. I wanted to play like the sequence, but the problem is that this move now defends that square. So I might have to just back off with the rook, but it's kind of unsatisfactory. If I could play like queen h1 in one move, that would be really, really nice. Also, thanks to Anand for being a member on YouTube. I really appreciate the support. Queen h3 straight away, and then bishop takes. Like, what's the point of that? I still don't see it. Yeah, he gets destroyed, and we need the queen. That's like the whole point of playing rook h6 in the first place, that we want to get the queen on h7. So here, I think some slow play might be needed. I'm not sure. In a circle, I don't think it's controlling anything. Queen h3, bishop h3, bishop h3, pawn h6. Like, there's nothing left. Rook's hanging too. So maybe like rook h7, something like that. I'm more inclined to play bishop h3, so that if they take, we take back, and we're winning in a similar way. And if we play bishop h3 and they do nothing, well, first of all, if they take the rook, we still have queen takes h6, which is very effective. But if they do nothing, we take on c8 and then play queen h3, or rook h8, it doesn't matter. I think it's bishop h3. Alright. Rook h7, no. It can't still be this, really? What's our follow-up move? Oh, it's probably like queen g1 and then slow move here. No, it doesn't like that. Queen g3? Okay. This makes sense, but I'm not sure why bishop h3 is not an alternative answer. So the idea with this one is that we don't want to let them fix their structure and like escape with the king. So it's an initiative thing. And with queen g1 and queen g3, I was thinking that both of those moves are threatening mate. But doesn't bishop h3 also lead to a mate? So if we go here, what's the engine move? It says rook d8. That's not unexpected. Is it really so hard to meet rook d8? Like, I can just take this, maybe. Oh, I missed knight c4. So I should have thought about that a little bit more carefully. That is not good. Idea is if I take it, then rook d8, for example. Oh, actually, no, the knight guards the queen in that case. So, probably throw this check in, and then go for back rank tactics. We just want the queen to move so we can take on c3. So that makes sense. I guess I should have looked more into that counterplay. Okay, I get why this is the answer, but now why not queen g1? It says bishop g5. Okay, so we need queen g3 to prevent bishop g5. That makes sense. Why not queen f3? I think queen f3 is running into rook takes f3. I don't think we have enough here. Okay, moving on. 1 second, guys. Sorry, I had to banish some noise. Anyway, hopefully it's not as noisy now for you guys. Alright, what do we have here? This looks like one of those things where we checkmate with 2 rooks, or a rook and a knight, but we're in check, so... If we play king h7, then they have queen h3. We could probably play, like, I don't know, knight h5 if we want to. Does that work? The idea with knight h5 is if they play queen h5, we play king g8, and then they don't have queen e8 check or something. Their queen's on the wrong diagonal now. But if we play that, knight h5, queen h5, king g8, queen f3, are we actually winning the game? I don't think so, because we need this knight on f3. King h7, queen h3, knight h4 is also not effective for the same reason. Like, they'll play queen takes, king g8, and yeah, they don't have any more checks, but we also don't have a forced win. We need this knight. So I think we have to play knight e8, probably. But then, like, what's going on here? Knight e8, we're threatening both rook g1 and rook h2. Those are good things. Yeah, knight e8 makes a lot of sense. I'm just wondering why this is even a puzzle, because it seems kind of easy to play knight e8. Like, yeah, you just block the check and move on with your merry life, right? What's the deal here? Knight e8, queen h3, we just play rook g1. So nothing's there. So after knight e8, what is white really going to play here? There must be something, otherwise this wouldn't really be a puzzle. I don't know, let's just play it. I'm trying to be fast here. Ooh, yes. I have to play king h2 now. Good to not get too excited here. And then rook h2, right? Knight takes, yeah. This is one of those moments where, like, I'd find all the right moves and then, like, find the mate in 3 instead of the mate in 2. Yep, little deflection there. It was nice. Okay. And I can see easily how someone might, like, just resign that position in a blitz game. You know, not thinking a little bit more deeply. Okay. What do we have here? Maybe, like, we have a lot of hanging stuff. Our D pawn's hanging. E pawn's hanging. Their king is in danger. It'd be nice to play some sequence of moves where this is all open, and then we can play, you know, knight takes f7 check or something like that, or knight e6 check leading to checkmate. Something discovered checks would be really cool. By the way, guys, to those of you who are tuned in right now, I just got back from Biel and Switzerland, and I did reasonably well in Biel, considering how my main goal when I was there was just to see Switzerland. I only lost 1 game out of 9, had a final score of 6.5, and I think I could probably do better, and I would like to see more places. I think that people enjoyed seeing the videos that I've been uploading from Switzerland. I'm probably going to be making a compilation video, like a vlog or something. And I hope to do more stuff like that. So I think my next tournament will probably be Reykjavik in January, which is a long way away. So in the meanwhile, I plan to keep training, but I'm also going to probably start using my Patreon and ask people to support my effort to go to Reykjavik. So that's something to look forward to. Not just like more content from Switzerland, but the Reykjavik stuff. All right, so queen takes f4 is definitely interesting. They would probably play pawn takes, right? If you play king g2, they could always sack back, right? They could play queen takes g5 if they really don't want to have any trouble. And if you play rook h1, they would play queen h5. So they might be a little little desperate, but definitely not outside the realm of consideration. I was thinking maybe something like rook takes e5, but I'm still trying to understand like what's going on in this position. Like, where is our attack? It's clear that we're kind of better on the dark squares, but they've also stuffed it with this knight, and they're threatening some things perhaps as well. Like, if I try to improve the knights in any way, it's just not happening. Like knight h4, for example, just as a kind of silly example. They'll just play queen takes g5, or if I move the other knight, they can play queen f3. It just seems problematic. So this bishop on b1 is already ideally placed. I don't think we're doing anything with that bishop, unless it's a sacrifice on g6. But you know, we're not strong on the light squares like that. I don't think that's happening. Rook takes c6 could be in the cards, maybe, but after bishop takes c6, I'm a little concerned about my own light squares. The rook on e1 also looks pretty well placed, but I think it could be improved. So ideas like rook h1 or rook e5, or as Anand is suggesting, maybe rook e4, they do seem kind of reasonable. Alright, well, I'm kind of going slow here, and my goal is to play a little faster, so let me just think more, talk less for a second. Maybe I have to Desperado this one first. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I didn't think the order mattered so much. But a pawn's a pawn if you're a computer. Alright, let's move on. Excuse me. Alright, queen f6. Looks kind of good. King g8 is the only move, because after king f8 there's queen h8. In that situation, I would really like my knight on, for example, h6. I could play like knight takes f7, so that after rook takes f7, queen takes d8 check happens. But it doesn't feel like a sacrifice of any kind. Additionally, after queen f6, knight takes f7, knight takes g4 is happening, but maybe then I'm getting what I want. Well, in the spirit of things, I think this is the first move. Just gonna go kind of fast still. Maybe I should play a bishop move even. Or maybe... Alright, so knight takes f7 was what I was thinking originally. I thought maybe knight g4. But then I have queen h8. So I'm still kind of on the knight f7 idea. Queen h8, king f7, queen d8. Bada bing. Oh, but should I throw knight h6 first? No, of course not. This. Do I have a checkmate here? Because I wanted the queen. I thought the queen was good. What's wrong with taking the queen? Of course, we have to throw these precise little moves in the middle. Okay. Is it really such a big difference? Like, queen takes d8 is also winning. Rook f1 is a little more winninger. That's frustrating. Maybe that's why I scored not so well with these. Because, like, it's obvious that you win a piece, but they want you to throw in some little sneaky moves in the middle that don't actually matter that much. Or at the very least make it unclear to evaluate. Alright, so in this example, it seems normal to play like rook fe1. But we also have the option to take on f5 or something. Just let them promote. I've grown to appreciate the light chess puzzles a little bit, and I swear it's not Stockholm Syndrome, because I don't do this that much. I think that they're extremely difficult, and sometimes the quality is low, but there's a lot of them, and they're quite reasonably sorted by theme. So it's not as bad as I think as some other generated puzzle sets. For instance, the chess tempo puzzle sets. They're also not curated by humans, so. All right, so maybe I'm looking at bishop f5 here instead. You know, they take my rook, they take back on f5, and it doesn't look that impressive. So the first move is probably an obvious normal good move. All right, and I don't see why I wouldn't take back. Okay, apparently I don't take back. Throw this one in. Alright, this is a really boring puzzle. I actually should have gotten this right. It's just, like, not a big deal. But I also am not unhappy with my position here. Like, if they have to passively guard this e6 pawn, I'm going to get so much activity. Like, if they do this to try to meet queen g6 with queen f7, I actually still have rook e6. Right? Yeah, exactly. This position's winning for white. So, I think it's really not that easy for them to defend this. Yeah, they really do seem to think that a blunder is like some small scented pawn loss. I want to make a parody film when like my video editing is better, called Human Centipon. It's gonna be a chess horror film. I think it'll be really silly. Knight g6 does look good, but what about knight e6? That might be even more razzmatazz. But knight g6 does threaten mate, so I appreciate that. Knight g6, pawn takes, tripled pawns, yes please. Bishop e6, and then rook f7 is defending, I think. If I play knight e6, pawn e6, bishop e6, rook f7, it's quite similar, except that I have an extra pawn for my time. So either we can give them tripled pawns on the g file, or we can win 2 pawns for a piece with the promise of at least getting an exchange back. I really wonder about this. Yeah, definitely is one of those. I like to call it sometimes like the split decision breakfast. Depending on what country you're in, you probably don't have that kind of thing on the menu, but it's pretty common, at least on like US diner menus. Split decision breakfast, it's like a little bit of everything. Well, it's definitely not like knight g5, because after queen g5, my knight's pinned. I can't even follow up with my very desirable sacrifice. You know, I have an idea. Maybe it's like knight g6, pawn g6, bishop e6, rook f7, rook h8, king h8, queen h1, king g8, and actually, you know what? Rook h8, king h8, bishop f7, threatening queen h1. I think that's it. So what's the difference with knight e6? Knight e6, pawn e6, bishop e6, rook f7, rook h8, king h8, bishop takes f7. Okay, so again, we still need to figure out the difference between these two. For example, if I'm going for this idea, let's say I do the one that's not collecting any material, right? I'm just doing this. At the end, I play bishop f7, right? So this one is here. They have tripled pawns. The king is trapped. I'm threatening queen h1, but they could block with knight f6. So queen h1 is met by knight h7, and then I would probably have to play bishop takes g6 to keep the game going. Whereas if I play knight e6, pawn e6, bishop e6, rook f7, rook h8, king h8, bishop takes f7, they might be able to play g6 to defend. So I play queen h1, king g7. I'm more convinced by knight g6. So it's probably really pleasant for Anand that this is right, because it was the move he really wanted to see. I think this is all good. They also have knight f8, but like it all doesn't matter. Bishop g6 is happening. Does rook h8 first work? Good question. The reason it shouldn't work is that they don't have to take when you play. I guess your follow-up is knight g6. You need to be able to play bishop f7 with tempo. I think that if you play bishop f7 when the king is on g8, it's not working. So that's probably why. Rook h8, king h8. For example, knight g6. Pawn takes. Queen h1 check. King g8, bishop e6, rook f7. It's not the same. I think that's why this move order is best. Yeah, suggest every move. Candidate move exercise to the extreme. You just suggest lots of moves. Never go down the line. Just kidding. Anyway, so we have ourselves a merry little heavy piece endgame. I could take on f7, they take back, I play rook f1, and then we start yawning because it's like very normal looking. Maybe queen c7 defends the rook. I'm just looking for a problem with that. And I don't really see it. Like, for example, if I play g5 or something, trying to just improve my position, then they have king g7, and the rook is free to reign, and we'll probably have to just trade everything. Which is actually not great for us, I would say, because they have this 2 versus 1 on the king side, and their king's really close. So maybe we shouldn't just, take and put pressure. Queen d8 also looks plausible, with the idea that if we take on f7, here I'll draw some arrows. If we take on f7, they can't play rook takes. Well, actually they could. We could take this queen, double their pawns. Use compensation. I don't know. Maybe they actually could, but my idea was that maybe they have some downside for trading queens. But there's another idea. Queen d8, king g7, rook h7, king h7, rook h1. I don't care where you put your king. I'm playing queen h8 next move. I think this is the answer. Burr. Chess pieces go burr. There we go. Yes. Alright. Maybe I'm speeding up a little bit. I don't know. Here we go. For anyone who see me play in real life, I usually will play very slowly in positions where it's like super obvious what the move is, but I almost never blunder away a position that's like very winning as a result. So it kind of comes over in my puzzles, I think. I'm not sure what I want to accomplish in this position. Like, queen b3 is not really happening. I'm not even sure I would win the game if I could play it. They have queen g2 stuff. This is a big deal. Rook c7, even if I could play that safely, I'm not sure that wins. I guess it wins a bishop, potentially. Oops. If I play something like bishop g3, that's really slow. I don't see that being the answer, really. In fact, the white queen is pretty much trapped. If I allow them to play bishop takes e6 safely in that situation, the queen doesn't have anywhere to go. Oh yeah, Anand, I definitely will like stop and think a lot during bullet. I cannot stop thinking, really. I don't enjoy bullet at all. Queen e3 runs into queen g2 mate. Otherwise, queen e3 looks kind of interesting. I agree. I'm just not sure how to stop this mate threat in an effective, like an energetic way. Like, I could stop it with bishop g3. It changes almost nothing, but yeah, exactly. Queen g2, not working. I'm also not seeing any kind of like fun things where I give up my queen to stop the mate and then like the rest of my pieces roll them. It's not really there. All right, hold on. Just imagination time. I don't think this is a not lose tactic either, because the position is not like of a forcing character for black. If they had something where there are very few ways to survive, I would be more inclined to agree. But here I could play f3, I could play queen g3, I could play bishop g3. I could throw a rook in the way. I could sit and do nothing. Basically, there aren't really any moves that are losing on the spot. So I doubt that this is like a survive puzzle. Okay, I've spent too much time on this puzzle. I am going to make some move that like makes a little bit of sense. All right, that failed. I still want to try to guess the move. I looked at moves like rook e4 and rook c4, but like they never really worked. Bishop g3 was obvious and not the right answer. g3 weakens the light squares too much. Rook c7 doesn't really accomplish anything, they just take it. Queen b3, no, there's like no checks after. This is tricky cult. Maybe I should go here. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think about that. And the idea is to go here with like a big attack. I would throw in probably queen b3 first, because if I could get my queen to b5, that would be really nice. Okay, that was actually not so hard. Like, just attack the bishop. Jeez, like the weak spot is d7. Okay, that's okay. Interesting puzzle. I would say almost there, except I didn't think about it. Okay, so here we are down some pawns, but the points don't matter because it's opposite bishops. I could play bishop f7, because if rook f7, there's rook c8, and then, you know, it's looking like compensation. If they play king f7, then maybe rook f2, and or maybe e6 quickly. Yeah, so bishop f7, king f7, e6. Put your king somewhere. I don't really care. Rook takes c8, rook takes c8, d7. That looks kind of right. Okay, so bishop f7, maybe they have to play king g7. But then I can just play e6 straight up. Like, trade rooks and then play e6. I think this is it. Alright, I'm at least pleased with the pace at which I got this wrong. Throw this in. Maybe throw this. Okay, this is kind of obvious. Promotion square is light, so we go there. They can throw hands with like rook c1, but we don't really care. This guy's gonna promote. Alright, that was achievable, but didn't do it. Rook takes g6, pawn g6, rook g6, king f7. Some kind of disaster should occur here. I don't know. I'm doing it. We roll in. No? Okay. I guess not. Queen h6 first. Alright, so queen h6 to corral the king. Makes sense. d2 is like the only move. If we take this way, then I was thinking that we would have a good position like this, but I guess not. The pawn is promoting, so that was a little careless. Knight f3 is an idea. What could possibly go wrong? I'm just threatening mate, right? I still don't feel like it went wrong. Queen h3. Well, actually, they're guarding h2. Maybe rook takes g2, or maybe queen d6 followed by something. Maybe queen h3, bishop h3, and something. Mainly something. Maybe it's queen g2, rook g2, rook f1. That looks good. Okay. Yes, we must sow chaos in their forces. Knight f6, pawn f6, queen h6 looks pretty reasonable. Maybe knight g5 coming next. Thank you for following. Dislike fun. I too dislike fun. That's why I play chess. So, knight f6, pawn f6, queen h6 could be the real deal. If they take on e5, we play knight g5. And if they don't take on e5, our next move could be pawn takes f6 with the threat of queen g7. So, I'm trying to play fast here. I think I'll just go for it. Yes, good. I appreciate all of that. Rook takes, followed by knight g5. Yes. Of course, what else? Oh man, that's not good. Never mind. Sad. Darkness and cold. I could just take this. And then they take this. And then I'll probably do a handstand like this. It should be winning. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Again, I'm trying to go for speed now. Some mistakes will happen, and that's fine. I swear I am not dying inside every time I get one of these wrong. I promise. Well, queen d4 looks like fun. And you know what they say, chess players just want to have fun. But queen f2 spoils that. But then maybe I could throw in rook g2, king g2, rook g8, king f1 to try to hold on to this queen, bishop h3 to add insult to injury, king e1 because it's a legal move, and then rook g1, king d2, rook g2. That looks pretty good. I think I'll do that. It was not meant to be. Bishop h3 is simpler. But what I did was probably really good as well. Yeah, we're going to go with that narrative moving forward. 2,500 at stake? I don't care. I was over 2,700. Now I want to be able to do the same thing but faster. I don't really care about the rating whatsoever. I've proven it all already. So I guess I'm looking at bishop takes d5 in this situation, or maybe even rook takes d5. So let's say bishop takes because materialism, simultaneously coexisting with immaterialism / absurdism. So rook takes d5, I guess king c2. Yeah, that doesn't look so great. I don't know if I really care for that. Oops. Oops. I didn't mean to scroll. My bad. I don't know. I think I need to get some pieces in the game. Maybe it's bishop d5, pawn d5, rook d5, king c2, and then the calm move, rook hd8. Yes, very calm, soothing even. Such moves can only be played by masters of sleeping in late. But anyway, the reason I rejected this is because it's very lazy. Rook hd1 probably quells the rebellion. So much for that coup. Maybe I should be playing queen b2 first. Or maybe bishop takes d5, pawn takes d5, queen b2. Because queen c2 is an unnecessary evil, then rook takes d5. If they move their king, we take the queen. If they play bishop d3, then we should have some good memes. Alright, I'm going for that. I take and then play queen b2. Hey, and they didn't even make me play it out. That's uncanny. Alright, we're moving on. Did someone say sacrifice? I could play like rook g2. Just to make them feel very uncomfortable. Ska, welcome. Yeah, easy. Control of the Oompa Loompas. You mean the pawns? Are those the Oompa Loompas in this scenario? It is I, Gene Wilder, Lord of the Pawns. Ananda's suggesting that we make chess into some kind of Dungeons and Dragons-esque scenario where there's a chance of backfiring and things like that. Yeah, I feel like the sadistic or the masochistic chess player in you is emerging when you suggest that we add randomness where it can only backfire on you. I think that choker is already a thing, chess poker, right? I've heard it was a flop though. You guys can tell me if you know more about that. I'm not sure, but people have attempted to add random stuff. I've even seen kids at tournaments playing like card games where like they draw a card and it tells them what piece they have to move, and if they can't move that piece, then they have to skip their turn. It leads to some ridiculous games that make no sense and require no thinking and are therefore probably quite relaxing if it doesn't get you too existential. Now, I am not sure about this one, so let me focus in a bit. I kind of want to like take and play a2 Brute. I don't think they have any like perpetual memes because my queen's covering a4. If they play rook c7, I have queen c7, and that should be spectacular. I don't know if I should like throw in some extra moves here, but I also have something simple. Like let's say I just play rook c8. Don't worry, be happy. They'll probably play like rook e8. Actually, that's a trouble. This is why I should consider sacking a piece. Because if I play rook c8, rook e8, a2, they have rook takes c8, king takes c8, and then queen e8 mate. So after rook takes c8, I probably have to play king a7. But after king a7, I don't see why they can't play, for example, queen g8, threatening rook a8, so that when I promote, they just win the queen. And probably the game. So it's tempting to also consider just, like, I push the pawn and stare in your face, like, what are you going to do about it? Queen takes, king a7. The problem is they might have something to do about it. Like, it's the same thing. Rook e8. Scott's suggesting that I should just lean into being Gene Wilder. I mean, I don't see why not. I'm basically halfway there. Could I specifically lean into being the Gene Wilder meme where he's like, tell me more about your something or other? I feel like that would be optimal. Alright, Anand says that Chess24 poured money into the chess poker thing, but it didn't take off. What a shocker. Hikaru flagging Rosen down a queen from the beginning due to a bad hand. That's funny. I guess that's the game theory optimal outcome of the game. Even in regular poker, there are some situations like that. I think I saw one situation where I think it was a world championship finale where I don't know if he was defending champion, but he had been champion. He had like 2-7 offsuit as his final hand, and he just bluffed super hard to win the whole thing. The guy just like bet that bet and then eventually folded against 2-7 offsuit. Alright, I don't know about this one. I think it's important to just move on with my life. So I'm going to try this. It's bad. Go figure. You push. You go here. I didn't think they would try queen g4. Can I not just take it and then promote? Alright, this is ridiculous. I don't know why this is the main line. Maybe I'm just stupid. I mean, that's always an option. Alright, I saw this, but I thought that they would play, like, for example, this. Alright, I have a check. I have a chair. Oh, okay. This makes sense. Alright, I just had to be more thorough or something. Alright, rook e5 could be good. Maybe bishop e1 is also good. Yeah, what could go wrong if I play bishop e1? Maybe I have to take this knight first just to avoid shenanigans. I guess I could play knight g6, knight f4, but I could play rook g6 when they play that, so not really. They could maybe play knight f3, but then I play queen f1 and win the game. Maybe they're playing queen c4 to defend. Like this one and this one. Alright, so probably I should just bump off this knight. Dang it. Alright, good move. Queen c4. And. What is this? Queen e4? Okay. I kind of get this. But I also didn't see anything wrong with taking it in the first place. What's the counterplay here? D takes. I play the same thing. Oh, they're still guarding c4 with the rook. That's dumb. Stupid me. Oh well. Oh yeah, the Stream Elements just dropped the merch store thing. So if you guys are into that, like this mug that I happen to have perfectly squared up in the frame. Yeah, if you like stuff like that, you can go to my merch store. Check it out. Alright. I want to checkmate on h2 or something. Maybe I should just do a rook lift. Try checkmate on h1. Again, going for speed here. Was not that. I don't know what else it could be. I thought that move made a lot of sense. Maybe this first. Yeah, I'm not following this position. Throw this in. I need this knight. I don't feel like I could play bishop e4, but somehow that's the move. Oh, okay. This makes more sense now. This is actually a nice little combination. Alright, so this was just a simple discover attack that I missed. Okay. Bishop was important. I should think to get rid of the bishop. I'm in check. I have to get out of check. How do I get out of check? What are the rules of chess? I could play this, but then there's this. But then I have this one. So maybe it's not such a big deal. They would actually have to block with the rook. That's awkward. Bishop takes. Bishop takes here with check. I have to go back. Actually, I don't. I could play f4. That one's material, but I'm already down in exchange. Well, let's see. Is there a problem with the other moves, like king f1, king h1? I don't know. I'm not sure like what the difference is between my options here. I'm threatening bishop f5 in multiple ways. I just don't want to allow some shenanigans. Maybe the shenanigans include such moves as queen d5, queen c6, queen b7, or queen d3, all with check. Like king h1, queen c6. I can't play bishop g2. There's queen g2. So not preferable. It seems that I will be forced somehow to put my king on h2 anyway. Like, if I play king f1, they have queen d3, and that's not good. I have rook e2, queen d1, and then only rook e1, queen d3. It's just a draw on the spot. King h1 allows probably queen to b7, let's say. And then I have to anyway, or queen c6. Yeah, queen c6. And then I have to play king h2, and then there's bishop d6. So I'm going to go straight to h2. What's the deal here? Why can't I just take this queen? I guess they have bishop f4 check or something. But then I want to take this one. But then there's rook g5. So maybe I have to move my king now. But then they have their usual good memes. Maybe I have to desperado my queen for a rook here. I don't know. I figure if I take this one and they give me this check, I don't really want to do this. I don't know. Life's a mystery. Alright, I think I'm going to stop here because I have to go to work, truth be told. My record was not so good. I do not like it. But I want to do this more often so that I can try to get better at solving this level of tactics very quickly. I've already gotten over 2,700 in these, trying to do them very slowly. And doing much better than that probably means you're cheating on Lichess, seriously, because it's just very difficult to solve their 3,000 level puzzles. So trying to solve these mid-tier ones quickly is a good goal, in my opinion. If I could be like 2,500, solving like 30 of them in an hour, that would be cool. So I'm gonna wrap up for now and go do my real job. But thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Good luck with your chess.